What's up, everyone? All right, well, today was a wild day. It was crazy. So I actually went up $27,000 today and then all the way back to flat, only to then rally back to up 17,000. I should have thrown in the towel sooner. It's starting to rain again here. It was kind of a crazy night last night. It was the storm coming through New England was wild and just raining super hard, super windy, big thunder. And then, I decided to sleep well. And this morning, I ended up having some tech issues on my platform. And, it wasn't related to weather. It was just a coincidence, but it threw me off pretty big time. And that's what caused the loss at the open. So I was having a tech issue on one stock where my routing wasn't working. And then I FOMO jumped into another one to try to kind of compensate for what I knew was going to be a loss. I bought it too high. It flushed. I panic sold. The entry was bad. Took a big loss, and just like that, went from green on the day, from up big on the day to flat, and then had to rally to get back to green. So on FCUV, my P&L swing today was from a high of 10,000 to a low of minus 12,000. So I lost 22,000. And then I finished up 5,000 on it. So then I made back 17,000 off the low. And so that was the one where that one got me green, back to green on the day. So, oh man, wild day. Tech issues are not the friend of a trader. I mean, these things happen. Sometimes it's weather. Sometimes you lose power while you're in a trade. Sometimes you lose internet. Sometimes your broker's having issues. And today I was kind of facing potentially a little bit of all of them. But the one that got me was actually a broker routing issue. So it was weird because the stock I was trading, I didn't have problems executing orders pre-market, but then once the market opened, the orders were getting rejected. And so, yeah, that's not fun when that happens, but it's part of trading. And it happens sometimes with every broker, even the very best brokers. It's going to happen sometimes. So, trading's hard enough without these things, but it's just part of the deal. So I have to kind of brush it off. I'm just going to be grateful I'm green. And honestly, when I got myself back to up 7,000 and 8,000, I was still pretty annoyed because I was down 20,000 off my high of 27. But once I got back to up 17, I was like, you know what? I'm okay stopping here. I'm $10,000 off the top. Whatever. This is fine. This is a good stopping place. So that's where I cut it, threw in the towel, and it's only 10. Well, it's almost quarter of 11 now. So it's getting a little later in the morning, but there'll be more action, I'm sure. I'm just going to take what I got and be grateful for that and come back tomorrow. And the fact is, and I'll break it down during the recap, a lot of the stocks I was trading today were very choppy. FCUV, huge whips. TCAT had huge whips. False breakouts. I was also red in the small account today. So the two stocks I trade in the small account went red on me. So just across the board, we were seeing pop and drop, really choppy markets. I'm grateful to be green. Barely. Kept my head above water, and I'll live to trade another day. I'll be back at it tomorrow. And on that note, something that I was thinking about, well, you know what? I'm going to save it for the recap. I'll tell you during the recap. All right, so hit that thumbs up. I hope you enjoy the recap. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've got some exciting things coming this month in September. And in case you didn't already know, my results are not typical. The typical experience is that a beginner trader loses money. So do yourself a favor and trade in a simulator before you put real money on the line. All right, enjoy the recap. What's up, everyone? All right, so I'm going to do this recap take two. Normally, you'd see me doing using eSignal for my recap, but I can't get my eSignal to pull any data right now. It's I don't know. Maybe I'll try logging out and logging back in one more time. But in any case, so I might do the recap on TC2000. I'm on my laptop. I did the recap, and then I realized I wanted to add something to it. So I figured I'd just start over. So the thing I wanted to add, I was talking with a student earlier this week who was feeling a little bit bummed out that he was finishing the month of August, basically flat. He's had some really great months in the past. He had a month where he was up, well over 25,000. And then so to have a month where, he's break even feels like, oh, this isn't good. What's wrong? Have I lost my touch or, what? It's just that pressure and that kind of scariness of why is this happening? And so I reminded him, I said, listen, man, here's the deal. You've only been trading for maybe like a year and a half. You're so new in your career as a trader. This is only the second month of August that you've ever traded. having weeks right now or even months where you're basically break even is not a big deal. It's okay, because while you're not making maybe in those months a lot of profit, what you are gaining is experience. And so something that I often say is that, on a stock like FCUV, which I traded today, and it's kind of a crazy day. I was up 10,000 on it, and then lost 22,000, was down 12,000, then rallied back to being up 5,000. On this stock, my biggest position I think was 12,000 shares today. And while had I been trading with 25,000 shares or 35,000 shares, my profits might be 3 times what they are on it right now. Maybe I'd be up $15,000 or $20,000 on it, and I'd be up 30 on the day. I didn't feel that I could handle the risk and manage the trade with that much share size. But I think that 6 months from now, 8 months from now, a year from now, as I keep sort of trading at the edge of my comfort zone, I will get to the point where I can do it. So I try to remind myself to let the me of 6 months in the future be the one who takes some of those big, aggressive, risky positions, and not to get bent out of shape that I don't feel that I'm able to really do it right now. So if you have a month, for instance, where you're break even, or you have a stock that you trade and you're like, man, I really kind of undercapitalized on this. I could have, should have, would have made so much more money if I'd, this or that. We can all say that at all points in our career. So try to be grateful for the experiences that you gain. And if you gain profit along the way, that's obviously great. But every single month that you keep your head above water, you're gaining experience. And, I've often said that if you keep your head above water long enough, eventually you're going to start to swim. If you tread water long enough, you're going to learn to swim. And, that's just a feeling that I have. I don't know if that's actually the case. Maybe it's possible that someone could just barely keep their head above water, for like 10 years and never actually excel. It seems like if that was happening, that there would be some type of serious internal block preventing that growth. But in any case, so I just wanted to kind of mention that for those that maybe didn't have the best summer. And, my summer was okay. It wasn't phenomenal. So, I'm right there with you. I was red on the month of August at one point, and I was like, all right, I just got to get through it. And here in September, yesterday was a good day, but I did give back 17,000 off the top. Today, I gave back 27,000, went from up 27 back to flat, and then rallied up 17,000. So I can hear my son in the other room. So I'm on a time crunch here on this recap. So let me kind of run through it quick. I keep trying to reopen eSignal, and it's not launching now. I click it and it just won't even launch. Oh, here it goes. Finally. Well, let's see if I can get data on it. I don't know what the deal is. Come on, man. Well, whatever. So I'll just do it on TC2000. It's fine. So all right. So FCUV was up $58,000 yesterday. FCUV was my big winner. Tapped 24.45. Pulled back. As it pulled back, I lost 17,000 off the top. Finished the day up only 42,000. Still a phenomenal day. Well, into the close, rallying after hours all the way up to $30 a share. Nice. Pre-market, 4 a.m. It spikes to 31. Hi. Hi. Do you see this? What does this look like? Is this a chart? Is it a chart? Yeah. So it spikes to 31 and then just kind of fades. I started trading it off the 200 moving average, off this dip. And on my first decent trade on it, I had a trade right in this area here. I bought the break of $20.69. If we look at the 1 minute chart, let's see if I still don't have data over there. I think my laptop, maybe I just don't have the right username on for eSignal. I think it's my own problem. But anyway, so let's see. So where did we get that? Okay, so it was right around drawing tool line. It's right around here. It's kind of like, oh, that didn't work. It was sort of right around this area here. Hi, 2069, like right around this area. So I bought that breakout. Hi. I bought that breakout. We got a little move up to VWAP. It pulled back, and I got another trade on it right here. So these are my two trades right there and right there that put me up about $10,000. And these were, let's see, this one right here at the open. So, so here's the deal. The bell rings, and me being, you know, the aggressive trader that I am, let me just zoom this in a little bit further. So this trade, just getting like myself turned around. I don't usually use TC2000. So let me back this out. So it was the 2069 area. So it was right in here. That move right there is what put me up $10,000 right there. So this is the opening bell. Okay, so the bell rings, and I bought OMQS. OMQS was kind of interesting because it's an uplist. FCUV or CUV was an uplist as well yesterday. FCUV uplist and an IPO. Hang on one second. So, all right. So I was talking about FCUV and how. So this was a uplist and an IPO yesterday. So those were the headlines. And so when I saw someone in the chat room mention what was it? OMQS. Initially, it was at like $13, and I was like, okay, yeah, I see that. It's also an uplist, so that's interesting. Sometimes what we find are that, you know, we get these sort of momentum cycles where we'll get 4 or 5 stocks that all make big moves and they're all uplists. We'll get 4 or 5 stocks that all make big moves, they're all recent IPOs. We'll get 4 or 5 stocks that all make big moves, they're all recent reverse splits. Or they're all crypto stocks, or they're all Chinese stocks. And we find these little clusters. And ultimately what this is pattern recognition. You know, people start noticing, hey, there's a pattern here. The last recent IPO stock made a big move. This one's starting to squeeze up. Maybe it'll do what that one did, and for that reason, I'm going to jump in aggressively and try to ride the momentum. So this thing breaks and goes to 1340, and then it goes in this candle all the way up to 1895. I started buying in this candle as it was squeezing up because I was like, well, hey, if this is going to do what FCUV did yesterday and make this big move, I don't want to miss it. So I jumped on, I started adding, and I got terrible fills. I got a lot of slippage. I added as high as 1888, which was like 7 cents off of the high, which was 1895. But when you start seeing a stock move that quickly, and when you have this blue sky setup, no recent resistance, that's when you can end up seeing some really big moves. So that's kind of what I was thinking on this. And anyway, so on the first trade, I got green on it, although I gave back profit off the top. And it dropped back down. I did some dip trades trying to get that curl back over VWAP. I was looking for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. Big seller at 15. It was like 40,000 shares. So I was like, all right, this thing's fading. It comes down more. On this one, I did some dips off the low. And so coming into the open, I was up around 14,000 on it. And then into the open, I bought for the break of this pivot right here, which is 1531. And so the opening candle hit a high of 16. And so the bell rings and I'm in it. It hit 16. There's another seller. It doesn't break. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to sell it. I go to sell it. My order rejects. And now I don't remember if I already talked about this in the first part of the recap before I got interrupted there. But so my order rejects. And so then I'm scrambling. I'm like, why is it rejecting? What's going on? And I realized, so I ended up using a different route. We obviously, as you probably know, we're using direct access routing for the trades. Let me see if I can. I'm not going to bother with it. So anyways, I talked about this just for students in the classes. So students, you guys know all about this. For those on YouTube tuning in, the long and short of it is that it was a routing issue. And so I had to reroute my order to a different market maker. But all of my hotkeys are already scripted to NASDAQ. So I couldn't use hotkeys. And when I was manually entering the order, it kept resetting to NASDAQ, which is my default. So every time I would change the price, it would automatically default back to my default route. And so I was in this loop where I would choose the route which was then like resetting the price. And then I would change the price, but then that was resetting the route. Then I would go reset the route, then change the price, and it kept going back and forth. So it took several minutes for me to figure out what was going on and why I couldn't get out of this dang position. So by the time I sold it, I'm up, I guess at that point, $12,000 on the stock. And at that moment, while I was still in it, is when FCUV on the 1 minute candle at the open started to squeeze up. And, I was kind of like, I was frazzled, I was flustered, I was annoyed, and I was like, man, now this one's ripping. All right, I'm going in. I knew $23 was a level that I was watching closely, and that was from yesterday. So I thought, okay, it's breaking through 23. I'm looking for this to get up to 25, 26, 27. So I bought 12,000 shares at $24. It hits a high of 24.42 and then drops to 22.55. Actually, it went a little lower than that. It dropped to, in that first 1 minute candle, how far did it drop to 22.10. And because my entry was total FOMO, I just kind of jumped in. All of a sudden, I'm looking at my P&L and I'm down 15,000, 18,000, 20,000. I was like, oh my God, I got to cut it. I hit the bid. I panic bail. Now, if I'd been in a more like grounded state and not also dealing with another trade that I was red on, I wouldn't have bought where I bought. And even if I had, I would have felt comfortable probably buying on the dip because I was focused on what was going on. Instead, I panic sold. I take a $20,000 loss. I go from up 9,000 on FCUV to down 12,000. So $21,000 to $22,000 loss. And then 2 minutes later, it rips all the way up to 25. I get back in and I made on that trade right there $8,000. So I went from basically pre-market for a moment, I was up 27,000. And then I took a couple losses on OMQS before the bell and was up only about 14,000 on it. So I was up about 25,000 on the day because I was up 10,000 on FCUV. And then I went from there to up only $250 on the day. From up 27 to flat. Trading is risky. In a minute, it was gone. Couple minutes. And so anyways, this trade got me back to up 8,000. It sells off. And then when it came back up for a second attempt through the VWAP, which was, let's see, just a moment later. So it was right here. So right there, I got back in for the break of VWAP. We got a halt, then we got a dip and rip. And with that trade, I made 10,000. And that put me up 17,000 on the day. And at that point, I said, all right, that's enough. I did not take this trade here at 11:30. That was when I started my recap and I wasn't watching it. So didn't take that trade, didn't get caught in that flush. But today, here's the thing. So we had TCAT. TCAT this morning, nasty. Pops up and drops down. I lost 127 on it. I didn't get, I didn't get too big of a loss on it, but I did take a loss on it, so that wasn't fun. We had SPRT. SPRT, pop and drop. We had SQBG. SQBG tried to pop up again, and that one's actually held up a little bit better. BBIG, let's see about that one. Let me also check my scans over on this computer. This one popped up here at the open just a little bit and then dropped back down. We had IPHA. Look at this one. IPHA, this thing went from $6 to $12 all the way back down. Now, those are those algo spikes, and you can make money trading those if you are quick and you jump on and you just chase it. Now, that's not really the safest thing for most beginners to do, but many of us fall into the habit of doing it. I look for stocks moving quick. I look for stocks going straight up, and I jump in and ride the momentum. This is something that I would have been tempted to trade. It happened right at about 8:10, and by the time I pulled the stock up, it was already starting to come back down. But otherwise, I would have looked at that and been tempted, because when a stock is moving fast like that and you have news, those can give great opportunities. But again, this was a pop and drop. It came all the way back down. So unfortunately, that's kind of the story of today. We're not seeing really good staying power. FCUV is still below the open, so it's red versus the open price. It's Let's see. Oh, actually, no, it's just slightly green versus the open price. But anyways, it's red versus yesterday's close. OMQS, this one's not holding up super well. I mean, it's holding a gap, but not super well. TCAT, no good. PSTV was on the gap scanner. It was up 18%. That was no good. SCPS, I went red on this in a small account. NM, I went red on this in a small account. So we didn't have very good follow through today. It would have been a day very easily that I could have finished red. And I did finish red, $2,000 red in the small account. But green in the big account, FCUV, I was able to get that nice break of VWAP right here, halt, and then dip and rip. So thank goodness for that. That trade is what kind of brought me back to up 17,000 and keeping my head above water, well above it, with 17,000 in profit and close to 60,000 now in the month. The monthly goal right now is 200,000. First target's 100 grand, and I'm 60% of the way there in 2 days. 200,000 is well within reach. So I'm going to try to keep grinding, keep hitting these trades, hitting some winners, and see if I can finish the week tomorrow, Friday, with a couple more good trades. But definitely not a market for YOLO, hold and go for the big win, because we're not seeing that staying power. RGC from last week, they gave us this multi-day, second-day move all the way up to $60. Well, I thought maybe we would see that today on FCUV. I thought maybe, but no. So, all right, it is what it is. Second day of the month, in the green, and that's my recap. A little disjointed because I just took a break in the middle of it, but hopefully that's helpful. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, my results are not typical. Trade cautiously, take it slow, trade a simulator before you put real money on the line. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you first thing tomorrow morning. I hope you really enjoyed that video, and make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Our goal is to hit 1 million subscribers this year, but we won't get there without your help. So please, please, please hit that subscribe button.